Good day and welcome to Politics Roundtable on Nigerian Pilot TV with your host Emmanuel Obiswe. Over the weekend, it was announced that the country has entered into yet another recession in 5 years under the same administration. This information was made available by the National Bureau of Statistics. And part of the reasons, according to the NBS, was that the country plunged into recession owing to economic restrictions to movement and other logistics in the wake of the coronavirus pandemic. We recall that Nigeria entered its first recession in 29 years in 2016, but was able to exit in the second quarter of 2017. And here we are, a second recession in 5 years. So with me today in the studio is Mr. Emmanuel Akazua. I'll be introducing him to us just after a short break. We'll be looking at the whole sentiment surrounding the country entering into another recession. We'll go on a quick break. Don't go away. All right, welcome back to Politics Roundtable on Nigerian Pilot TV. I'll be introducing my guest to us. And we have in the studio Mr. Emmanuel Akazua, a public affairs analyst and a political analyst per se. You're welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Emmanuel.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
All right, viewers. The MBS blamed coronavirus for this second recession. They said the negative impact of the COVID-19. We had restrictions in flights, land borders were closed and all that. So I would want to ask you, Mr. Emmanuel, is this excuse for a recession, is it tenable?
I beg to disagree with the MBS and the government officials who are in charge of giving us some theoretical statistics in respect of the recession that we are into. And let me remind us that the recession we're talking about today did not just start yesterday. Since the administration of Buhari, Nigeria has been in recession. And I want you to understand that Nigeria is a rentier state. Nigeria is collecting rent from oil and selling to settle issues. But in a situation where a government comes into power on the promise of making difference and changing the narratives of living in affluence by government officials, these people refuse to change. Rather, they keep on complaining, blaming the former government, and apportioning blames to PDP. And they fail to bring in economic policies to make a change. Rather, they keep on blaming and blaming and blaming and doing a blame game. So how do you expect Nigeria not to go into recession? So it is not today that Nigeria is in recession. Rather, they were keeping it away from us. Another thing is that if Nigeria were not in recession before, why is it that we have been borrowing and borrowing and borrowing without any infrastructural development? We have been hearing all these things on the radio, that they have constructed this railway here, they have constructed all these things here. But in the real sense, we're not seeing all those things. But they are borrowing money. When the people in government, the ministers and the senators are stealing and looting the money. So where do you expect, why won't Nigeria go into recession? Because the money that they are borrowing, they are not investing it in any infrastructural development. So Nigeria must go into recession. So we have been there. So it's a kind of reinforcement. They are just echoing it. They are only telling us to know that we are in recession, but we have been there before. It is not now. Thank you very much.
Okay. I recall that in the heat of the COVID-19 pandemic, the government was quick to set up an economic recovery team. And people were thinking that this group of experts, as the government said, were going to see to it that the country doesn't plunge into another recession, because the signs were there anyway. So if you want to look at this administration compared to that of the previous administration, you said clearly that this administration has spent so much time blaming its predecessor. Would you say that if it were to be the previous government that was in power now, during feeling the effect of the COVID-19 pandemic. Do you think we'll still fall into recession?
I remember that the COVID-19 did not start in Nigeria. It started in China. Is China in recession now? Italians in Italy, it continued from there. The US, are they in recession now? The truth is that mismanagement of our resources, the incompetence of this government is one of the major problems we're having. During the pandemic, banks, individuals and churches came out with hundreds of billions and donated to the federal government to cushion the effect of COVID-19. What did they use this money for? During the period that the children were at home with their parents, the government now said that they were going to use the money to feed the children. The children that were not in the school. I have about 2 or 3 primary schools near my place where I'm living. I went there through that period. I didn't see these people there. But they recorded that the money was used to feed the children in the school. Yes. So how do you expect such people and you trust such people in that they're doing the right thing? So the money is just looted. Recently we heard about 2.7 billion was found in somebody's account. The money that was meant for the feeding of children. So the money is going into people's account. And what is the credibility of those people that they selected as economic team for the listing? What do they know much about economy? When Buhari came into government in 2015, he set up economic team and made the vice president, who is a lawyer, to be the head of the economic team. That did not work. And why it didn't work is that you give somebody the goat and you are dragging the rope. So many people were involved. The vice president was unable to pilot their face or this thing very well. Not because he's incompetent. It's because he's a lawyer. He doesn't know much about economy. He promised that he was going to give appointments based on competence, based on the areas of specialization, and he talked much about technocrats. He waited for 6 months. A man that have contested election for 3 times before he won on his 4th time. There was no clear-cut economic plan. So when he came in for 6 months, he was waiting. We thought he was going to bring the best hands.
But he said he was taking his time to set up his cabinet.
He took his time for 6 months and wasted our time. And immediately he brought those people. We look at them as the same politicians. These are political hawks and economic parasites who have been consuming our money, depend on their money. All their families depend on government money. They don't use their own personal money. It's government money. They are feeding through the government money. So what do you expect such people? The same people that were governors, some of them were ministers before, some of them were House of Rep members, some of them were senators, and you brought them back to be ministers. And you are telling us that you are bringing technocrats. So it's the same thing.
All right, Mr. Emmanuel, thank you so much. I'm going to have to cut you on that. Now, there have been reactions. There have been reactions to the country plunging into recession, and a notable one is that of a professor of finance, Uche Nwaleke. He has projected that this recession may be short-lived, that the recession may subside as the effect of COVID-19 subsides, that it won't last, it won't take time. Do you see that coming?
I refuse to associate the so-called recession to COVID-19. It may be true because as a rentier state, whenever there's a little problem with oil, Nigeria goes into recession. But when the government came into power, they talked much about diversification. And since then, we've been hearing diversification only on videos and televisions. Nobody have seen the steps taken by this government to diversify. Instead, Buhari sink billions of dollars in looking for oil, searching for oil in the desert areas, in northern part of Nigeria. So if you want to diversify the economy, is it by using the same money you are getting from oil to go and still look for the oil that sooner than later it will no longer be useful or marketable again? So if he's projecting that it is because maybe the oil price may rise, and definitely because we don't plan, we still wait for the oil price to rise, then Nigeria will pick up again. Then after which, when there's a little problem in the international market, Nigeria goes down. And another thing I'm looking at is that except a government that will come and cut down the expenses of our government. We have we have about 600. We have about 360 members of House of Reps, 109 members of National Assembly. How much is their budget? Over 100 and something billion naira on a yearly basis. And apart from that, there are some other money that these people are passing through other means to get in that state. And we have the population of over 200 million Nigerians. And just a few members of people. We are not talking of the Senate, the ministers. Because what they are doing with their children in township, you see the kind of vehicles and cars they are buying. And you are telling me that we are not going we are going to come out very soon, except we change our mentality. The problem we have is that our mentality, our leaders are not willing to change. Rather, we make comparison. Whenever you complain about Buhari's government, they say, good luck time it was like this. Is it because good luck was failing and people say, okay, let us give it to Buhari because Buhari promised that he was going to do things differently. But the truth is that, is he doing things differently? No, he's not doing anything differently. Rather, he's doing it the worst. If you compare the indices, if you compare the statistics of what was happening during that time, it's a common sense. You understand?
His government promised a change agenda. They came with a change mantra.
But Nigeria did not understand the kind of change he was talking about. We have two kinds of change. We have the negative and the positive. What we are seeing is the negative change. Because when he came in, how much was a liter of oil? How much was a bag of rice? How much was transportation in Nigeria? And you can see it today. Even the woman that is selling common yam in the market today, most of them, they carry yam from morning to even nobody to buy because there was no money. How much was dollar? It was just between 188 to 192 naira when Goodluck left. Today it's about 400 and something. But if you go to parallel market, it's more than 550 naira. So what are we talking about? Is it when you destroy and you now come and start telling us that you want to repair? Repair what? The truth is that the government of Buhari is completely incompetent in terms of politics and economy. They have no power, no knowledge of governing, and they cannot handle the economy.
Mr. Emmanuel, I'm going to add. Okay, so Mr. Emmanuel, very quickly, a senior advocate of Nigeria, Dr. Olisa Agbakoba, he also suggested that the economic recovery growth plan, the ERGP of the Buhari administration, ought not to be in the hands of government. He has suggested that the management of this program should have been vested in the hands of private sectors. That if it had been that way, the country wouldn't have been experiencing the economic hardship it is experiencing. Do you believe? Are you of the same view?
Actually, I believe in it because government, whenever you allow government to manage business, there is every tendency that selfish interest and individual, that is the government officials who are interested in it, will not allow the business to move forward. And that has been one of the problems we have in Nigeria. Most of the companies in Nigeria that were run by government today are moribund. Look at Nigerian Airways. Look at NigPilot. Immediately NigPilot went in, they brought in Intel. Where is it today? All of them are dead because they are managed by incompetent people. Some of these same people, whenever you take them out of government and they are into private sector, because the private sector manages economy very well and in their businesses, the businesses are moving well. So to me, I look at it that it is the best way to allow private sector to pilot their phase of business. So giving it in the hands of government that is already grossly incompetent is the same thing as putting us into yet another recession. So to me, I support what Agbakoba said about it.
Okay. Finally, on a final note, as we conclude, I know for sure that you are neither a card-carrying member of the PDP or the APC. I wouldn't want to go into that.
I am.
But
I am. I'm a card-carrying member of APC.
Okay.
But we are not a Buharist. We have two types for APC.
Yeah.
We have the Buharist and we have the APC who have the Nigeria at heart. So those who are Buharists, they don't see any bad thing about Buhari's government. Whatever he does, they applaud him.
Okay, that will bring me to my next question. The opposition PDP has, of course, taken this opportunity to lambast the current administration, saying, just like you said, that they lack competence to handle this country in terms of managing the economy. Is this a fact? Is it from their conscience, or is it just a political shot at their opponent?
It's not only a fact, it's a truth. There's a difference between facts and truth.
Okay.
Yes, it's a truth. what they are saying is true. The reason is that when PDP were in government, you saw what Lai Mohammed, the present Minister of Information, did. He criticizes each and every step the PDP took. So we thought when we come in power, we allow sentiments and parochial sentiments to be put away. But instead, when this government came in, the issue of competence was no longer given a room. Rather, they decided that it is who knows who, and whosoever they decide that should be in power. Looking at the kind of people that are managing the economy, where are they coming from? What is their background? What do they know much about economic management? So when you look at all these things, you now know that what the PDP is saying is true. Gross incompetence, sentiments, primordial sentiments, parochial sentiments, that is all. They are not interested in running the government, but what they are after is to find who to blame. And one thing is that whenever a leader is not ready to listen to genuine criticisms, such a leader is bound to fall. You will fail definitely because even those who are genuinely criticizing you, you look at them as enemies. So whatsoever PDP is saying today, they are looking at it as an enemy. But the truth is that this is exactly what happened. Impunity. PDP did the same thing. And when people were criticizing them, they look at them as enemies. And at the end of it, Nigerians decided that, okay, hence you people feel that Nigeria belongs to you, the PDP. We will change and see. And they changed. Unfortunately, the change did not change well. Rather, it is a negative change. So if PDP is criticizing them today, it is a good thing. It's better for them to learn from it. In fact, let me tell you finally, that it is better to learn from history than to learn from personal experience. Because those who learn from personal experience, at times, they don't survive it. Thank you very much.
Well, I want to thank you so very much, Mr. Emmanuel Akazua, for joining us on the show. Of course, we look forward to having you some other time.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Well, viewers, I hope you enjoyed today's package of Politics Roundtable with Emmanuel Obiswe on your darling station, Nigerian Pilot TV. Do well to join us again next week, same time, same station. I want to thank you so much for your time with us.
As events unfold around us,
we give you information
in Nigeria and around the world.
We are the pilot of good information.
We are Pilot TV,
connecting you to more information
as it breaks.
We are Nigerian Pilot TV.
We are Pilot TV,
connecting you to the world.